Welcome to our podcast. Today's episode delves into two deeply troubling events that have shaken the nation, as addressed by Vice President Barrett Jagdeo in a recent press conference. Firstly, we examine the heartbreaking case of a young teenage girl, Adriana Young, whose death is shrouded in inconsistencies. The Vice President expressed his deepest condolences to the family, echoing the father's distress, and stressed that both the family and the country deserve answers. He highlighted a significant discrepancy between the family's account of searching the premises and not finding the young lady, and a police statement claiming to have viewed footage of Adriana entering a specific vehicle which then drove away. The Vice President questioned the delay in releasing this crucial footage, stating that if the police have this evidence, it should be made public immediately. He emphasized the apparent contradiction of how Adriana's body could have returned to the pool if she was seen leaving in a car, demanding a thorough investigation to uncover the truth and holding those responsible accountable. He made it clear that any cover-up will face consequences at every level. Secondly, the press conference addressed another tragic incident involving the senseless loss of the Lac Cruz family. The Vice President conveyed the People's Progressive Party's sincere condolences to the family. This tragedy occurred after an individual, who was remanded for allegedly brutally assaulting his wife, was granted bail and subsequently killed his wife and several family members before committing suicide. A key concern raised by the Vice President is the legality of the firearm used in the killings and why it was not lodged by the authorities after the initial assault charge. He pointed out that if the firearm was legal, it should have been confiscated following the assault. The Vice President called for a thorough investigation into this matter as well, underscoring the profound loss to the country when citizens' lives are taken in such a manner. Join us as we unpack these critical issues, exploring the need for transparency, accountability, and justice in the face of these devastating events, as highlighted by Vice President Jagdeo.
Welcome back. Today, we're looking at two really troubling situations.
Yeah, profoundly sad, actually.
Absolutely. We've got the death of a young teenager, Adriana Young, and then this awful murder-suicide involving the Lac Cruz family.
And our source for this is a press conference transcript from Vice President Barrett Jagdeo.
Right. So our mission today really is to unpack the key questions, the inconsistencies that he himself raised in that statement about these tragedies.
It's quite something. He starts, acknowledging the gravity, the pain for the families, offers condolences right away for Adriana Young.
He does, and he mentions her father's distress, seeing some video, which really brings home the personal element immediately.
But then, almost straight away, it shifts. There seems to be a real conflict in the details.
Yeah, a big one. So the Vice President relays the father's account, which is that the family and the police, too, they searched the pool, the whole property, that morning.
Searched it thoroughly.
And found no sign of Adriana. Nothing.
Okay, but then you have the police report he refers to.
Yeah.
And that's where it gets confusing.
Totally confusing, because the police report apparently says they were checking the pool and grounds since last night.
Right, since last night. And crucially, that they viewed footage.
Footage. Okay, what did the footage supposedly show?
It apparently showed Adriana getting into a specific vehicle, a red and black Ram motor car. They even had the plate number, PSS 4684.
Wow, that's specific. PSS 4684.
And it was supposedly traveling east towards Redenhoop.
Okay, wait, hold on. If they have video of her leaving in a car, why the morning search? And why didn't the father know?
Exactly. The Vice President himself sounds bewildered. He says he's amazed at what came out here.
I bet. And he's demanding they release this footage immediately, which makes total sense.
You have to be released, doesn't it? Because you've got this huge contradiction. Father says she wasn't there the morning after a search. Police report says, we saw footage of her leaving.
So the massive question, the one hanging over everything, is how did her body get back into the pool?
If she left in a car, how? It doesn't add up.
The Vice President's words, "something is wrong," feels like, putting it mildly.
It really does. I mean, What could even explain that kind of discrepancy so early on?
It's hard to imagine. If that footage is real, it just throws everything wide open. Who was she with? Where did she go?
And how did she tragically end up back there?
Right. And this is where the talk of accountability comes in. He's promising a full investigation, echoing the president.
Yeah, saying anyone culpable or involved in any cover-up at any level will face consequences.
That's strong language. They seem determined to get answers.
Well, they have to be, right? Because these inconsistencies, they damage trust. People need clear, credible answers, especially after something so awful.
And as he says, just the fundamental tragedy, this young girl should have never lost her life. It just hits you.
It really does. Such a waste.
Okay, let's shift to the second event. Equally heartbreaking, just different circumstances. The Lac Cruz family.
Yeah, the murder-suicide, following the bail release of a man who'd been charged with assaulting his wife. Just terrible.
The VP offers condolences again, this time for the party, the PPP, to the Lac Cruz family, calls it a senseless loss.
And again, the focus immediately turns to the need for answers, for investigations. But the questions here are different.
They are. It seems to pivot around the weapon the firearm used.
Exactly. The fact that this individual committed this act after being released on bail for assault, well, it raises immediate red flags about the gun.
So the VP asks, point blank, was it a legal gun or illegal?
And crucially, if it was legal, why wasn't it lodged? Why wasn't it taken away after the assault charge?
He mentions that standard procedure in these cases.
It generally is. I mean, the idea behind that protocol is precisely to prevent something like this. If someone's charged with assault, especially domestic, taking away their access to firearms is a key safety measure.
So the fact he's asking means it likely wasn't followed. Or there's a big question mark there.
It certainly suggests a potential breakdown, yeah.
Yeah.
Either the protocol wasn't followed, or maybe the firearm wasn't known about. Or perhaps it was illegal all along.
Determining that legal or illegal, lodged or not lodged, seems absolutely critical to understanding how this could happen.
Definitely. It speaks to potential system failures, doesn't it? Things that need fixing to prevent future tragedies.
Yeah. And then he kind of zooms out, looks at the bigger picture.
Right. He calls for the country to come together, facing this kind of senseless loss of life.
It's a call for unity, I guess, in the face of just awful events.
He does acknowledge, though, that it's incredibly hard to prevent every single tragedy like this. You can't always know what's going on in someone's mind.
No, you can't. But he draws a very clear line.
A very clear line. He says, nothing justifies taking people's lives, period.
It underscores the absolute severity, the wrongness of it all.
And he wraps up that part by saying, our country is poorer when we lose our citizens, especially like this. Again, stresses the need for a thorough investigation into these killings, too.
So 2 separate tragedies, but both demanding serious answers and accountability. That seems to be the core message from the vice president's statement.
Absolutely. It's less about providing answers himself and more about highlighting the massive questions that need answering.
For Adriana Young, it's that huge clash, isn't it? The father's search versus the police report about the car, the footage, needs clearing up fast.
It's like immediately. Transparency is key there.
And for the Lac Cruz family, it's all about that firearm. Legal. Illegal. Why wasn't it secured if it was legal? Big questions about procedures.
Serious questions about the systems meant to protect people in those situations.
So wrapping this up, these two events, laid out side by side almost, they really force you to think, don't they? About accountability, about how investigations work, or sometimes don't seem to work right away.
Yeah, and about the systems we rely on for safety.
What does it really tell you, the listener, when you see such fundamental contradictions and procedural questions pop up right after tragedies like these? It leaves you wondering about the bigger picture, about transparency and finding justice when things go so terribly wrong.
Definitely something to reflect on. A lot of unanswered questions remain.
Today is an extremely sad day for our country. We've lost a number of our people in 2 separate incidents. We lost a young teenage girl, Adriana Young. And first of all, I wish to express my deepest condolences on behalf of the party to the family. I saw a video of the father speaking and how distraught he was. And the family deserves answers, and the people of this country deserve answers. And we find too many inconsistencies based on what we have heard so far with this story that has been weaved. So we expect a thorough investigation into the matter. The president has already announced that there'd be a complete, detailed, and thorough investigation into the circumstances through which this young Guyanese, this young teenager, lost her life. We personally, I'm amazed at what came out here. I listened to the father on the video saying that this morning family members and the police searched the pool and the premises, and there was no body, or the young lady was not found in the premises or in the pool. I then saw a report from the police, a release from the police, which spoke about checking the pool and the premises since last night, and then saying this: the command center in Regional Division Number 3 was contacted and viewed footage showed that Adriana entered a red and black Ram motor car bearing registration number PSS 4684, which drove off in an eastern direction heading towards Friedenhoek. Now, if they have that footage, the police, and they put it in a statement here, they should immediately release the footage. I don't know why there is a delay in releasing this footage, because this is very inconsistent with the entire story. If you viewed footage that showed the young lady entering into a car, you gave a specific car number and the color and the make of the car, and it drove off. Then release the footage that you viewed. We want to see it too, as a country. And the family would want to see that too. How, after this person left, this young lady left, did her body return to the pool? Something is wrong, and we have to get to the bottom of this. And we're not going to rest until that happens. And whoever is culpable, if there is a cover-up, people will face consequences. We're not going to tolerate this. This young girl should have never lost her life. And as the president said, there'd be a thorough investigation, and wherever we find transgressions, there will be consequences at every level. At every level.